Hey there, Pine Lake. It's me, Mrs. Hoke, back again with another science activity. This week we are talking about dinosaurs. Well, more like dinosaur fossils. Fossils are traces of animals and plants that lived long ago. When you think of fossils, what questions come to mind? How are fossils formed? Where can we find them? And what can they tell us about the past? To find the answers, we are going to be reading a book called Fossils Tell Stories. Written by Yuri Kim, illustrated by Hyeon-joo Lee. Brush, brush. Scrape, scrape. Dig, dig, dig. Look, dinosaur bones. These are the fossils of a dinosaur called Allosaurus. From head to tail, it is as long as the height of a 4-story building. Fossils are the remains of animals and plants buried and hardened underground long ago. Traces of animals and plants are also called fossils. Did all dinosaurs turn into fossils when they died? What do you think? No, just because they died doesn't mean they became fossils. Other animals could eat them. The bones left over could decay and disappear without a trace. Then how did dinosaurs become fossils? There may have been a landslide. Something happened and dinosaurs got buried under the earth. Their flesh decayed and only bones were left. My dog buries bones in the earth. Are they also fossils? No, they aren't fossils. To turn into a fossil, a bone has to be buried for a long, long time so that it becomes hard like a rock. What about clay pots made by early people? Those aren't fossils either. Things made by early people are called artifacts. Artifacts are things left behind by people who lived long ago. The remains of animal footprints or their crawl marks are called fossils. Fossils of dinosaur footprints are up above, while there's dinosaur skin fossils down below. Remains left by living creatures are also fossils. Dinosaur dung fossils, dinosaur egg fossils, even reptile dung fossils. By looking at fossils, we can work out what kinds of creatures lived long ago. Ammonites are a sea animal with a wrinkled coiled shell. Coelopses are a fish with a head shaped like a shield. A mammoth is a land animal like an elephant, but twice as big and covered with long hair. Fossils tell us how animals lived a long time ago. It must have been a ferocious hunter. Is the Allosaurus. A long, strong tail gave it balance to knock down prey. It must have walked on 2 legs. Strong, sharp toes were for grabbing prey and tearing meat. It must have been a carnivore. Large, sharp teeth were for chewing meat. Over here, the trilobite, it must have had very hard armor. When an enemy came, it protected itself by curling up. It must have lived on water and on land. This is a tiktaalik at the bottom. Fins had leg bones for swimming and walking. Fossils tell us stories about ancient lives. We can figure out many things by looking at these bones. Roar! So one of the questions I asked at the beginning was, how are fossils made? Well, in the back of this book, it has a step-by-step way of how they are formed and how we can make our own fossil. Fish and clams live under the sea. When fish die, they sink down. The dead fish are buried under layers of mud. Their flesh decays, but the hard parts of their bodies remain. Over a long time, the remains become hard as rock. More time passes, the earth cracks, and the fossils are revealed. That was Fossils Tell Stories. Now, it's one thing to read about fossils, but now I want to make my own fossil. I've attached a link below for an easy Play-Doh recipe that will help us create our own fossils at home. While the recipe is simple, you will require adult supervision. I have already made my Play-Doh for today's video. Other items you will need are a rolling pin and some other items you would like to turn into fossils, such as leaves, small toys, or even toy dinosaurs. Now we're going to take a small portion of our Play-Doh and we're going to roll it out to about 1 inch thickness. Put your item on the flat surface of the clay. I've got basil leaves, rosemary, and thyme leaves so we can get different impressions of each. Now take another small portion of clay and put it over the item. You want to make sure you press evenly all over. Now carefully remove the top layer of soft clay. Notice anything? Your item made an imprint in the clay. Now all you have to do is dry the imprint clay in the shade outside until it is dry. Like always, I would love for you to send in your photos of your fossils or let me know in the comments how it turned out for you. I look forward to hearing from you. I miss you and I hope you are doing well. Keep experimenting.